You were not made for comfort. You were made for challenge. From the beginning, your existence has been forged in heat, in struggle, in the impossible collision of chaos and creation. Every part of you carries the memory of survival, of something that refused to give up when everything else fell apart. You were born from fire, and the fire still remembers your name. It doesn't matter how much the world tries to make you forget that. Every screen, every soft convenience, every voice telling you to rest, to slow down, to take it easy, they're all trying to bury that spark. They want you tame, predictable, obedient, but you weren't built for that. You weren't built to watch life from behind glass. You were built to step into it, to stand in the heat and know that you belong there. Comfort is the slow death of purpose. The more you chase it, the smaller you become. Fire does not grow in safety. It grows in friction. It grows in the places that hurt. The people who rise and the ones who build, lead, and inspire, they've all met the fire, and instead of running, they listen to it. That voice in your head, the one that whispers you're made for more, that's not ambition. That's memory. It's your origin calling you home. The world has tried to convince you that peace comes from avoiding struggle, but deep down you know the truth. Peace only comes from conquering it. You don't earn calm by hiding. You earn it by facing what scares you and surviving it. Every time you wake up tired and still move forward, the fire sees you. Every time you fail and refuse to quit, the fire grows louder. Every time you fight your way through doubt, fear, and pain, the fire stands taller inside you. You were never weak. You were just untested. You were never lost. You were just hiding from your own strength. The world doesn't owe you ease. It owes you opportunity. And opportunity always comes disguised as difficulty. Every obstacle in front of you is a gate, and only those willing to get burned will walk through. The ones who stay behind will never understand what you found on the other side. The fire doesn't destroy. It reveals. It burns away the excuses, the hesitation, the false identities. It leaves only truth, the raw, unfiltered version of who you really are. That's why it hurts. That's why growth feels like breaking, because the comfort you built around yourself was never real. It was protection, and the fire was sent to set you free from it. You were born from fire. That means you were designed to handle pressure. You were designed to move through chaos, not run from it. You are not here to survive. You are here to evolve. Everything that tries to break you is only trying to wake you. Look at your life. Every defining moment came with pain. Every transformation came with loss. Every victory required something from you, something hard to give. That's not coincidence. That's design. That's the way of the fire. It doesn't hand out blessings. It demands growth, so stop waiting for things to get easier. They won't. But you will get stronger. That's the point. Fire never apologizes for burning. It expects you to rise through the flames until you understand that they can't touch what's eternal in you. That's what resilience really is. Not pretending that the fire doesn't hurt, but knowing that you can stand inside it and still keep moving. Knowing that pain doesn't define you, it refines you. Every burn, every scar, every time you thought you couldn't keep going but did. Those are not signs of weakness. They are proof of origin, proof that you were born from something immortal. People will tell you to slow down, to take it easy, to protect your peace. But peace doesn't live in retreat. It lives on the other side of discipline. It lives in the places where most people give up. You'll find it when you've given everything you have and then a little more. That's where the fire lives, not in comfort, but in commitment. So when life gets hard, when it feels like everything is testing you, remember this: the fire is not against you. It's within you. It's the part of you that refuses to back down. The part that won't stay broken, the part that doesn't care how long it takes. It just burns. It just keeps going. It doesn't need motivation. It is motivation. You are that fire. You are that will. You are that persistence that doesn't fade. You are that spirit that refuses to be contained by failure or fear. That's why you've survived what others couldn't. That's why you keep getting back up when no one expects you to. You've been through flames before. You just forgot how bright you are when you burn. The fire never left you. It's been waiting, quietly, patiently, for you to remember what you're made of. And the moment you do, everything changes. Because once you realize your origin, comfort loses its power. You stop needing the world to understand you. You stop needing approval. You stop hesitating. You start creating. You start building. You start becoming, because that's what fire does. It doesn't sit still. It spreads. It transforms. It consumes everything false until only truth remains. And that's exactly what your purpose is supposed to do. Burn away the limitations you've accepted, the fears you've inherited, the comfort that's been sold to you as happiness. The fire doesn't want your perfection. It wants your persistence. It wants your presence. It wants you to step forward even when you're scared, even when it hurts, even when you don't know what's next. That's where life starts, on the edge of what you think you can handle. You were born from fire, not comfort. So stop treating your softness like a curse. Stop apologizing for your intensity. Stop hiding your hunger. You are not too much. The world has just grown too soft. You were born to move mountains, to lead, to rise, to build something that lasts beyond you. And that kind of purpose doesn't come easy. It comes through struggle. It comes through pain. It comes through the fire that demands everything, but gives back something eternal. Strength, vision, clarity, and one day when you look back at everything you've survived, you'll realize the truth. You didn't just go through fire. You became it. There comes a moment when the world tries to convince you that peace means ease, that success should feel smooth, that happiness means never being uncomfortable again. But deep down, you know that's a lie. The strongest parts of you were never built in peace. They were built in pressure. Every scar on your body, every heartbreak, every sleepless night, every time you thought you couldn't go on but did. That's your real resume. That's proof that the fire hasn't gone out. You weren't meant to drift through life avoiding discomfort. You were meant to forge yourself into something extraordinary. The fire doesn't reward those who run from it. It rewards those who stand inside it until they become indestructible. You see, the fire doesn't just test you, it teaches you. Every setback, every disappointment, every failure has been training. When you thought the world was breaking you, it was shaping you. When everything fell apart, it was creating space for something greater to rise. That's how the fire works. It burns away what you don't need so you can finally see what you've been carrying all along. Pain is not punishment. Pain is preparation. The universe does not waste suffering on the unworthy. If you are being tested, it's because there's more inside you than you've shown the world. The fire only calls those it trusts to survive the heat. And you were called for a reason. You are not weak for struggling. You are alive because of it. Struggle is the heartbeat of progress. Every rep, every rejection, every moment you thought you were done. That's your strength being built in real time. People who live in comfort never understand that. They think ease equals happiness. But the ones who've walked through the fire know. Happiness isn't the absence of pain, it's the mastery of it. The fire you were born from is not the kind that fades. It's not the kind that dies when the wind changes. It's eternal. It's waiting for you to stop fighting it and start using it. You've been conditioned to fear the burn, to run from challenge, to avoid pressure, to choose the easy route. But that comfort you crave is a lie. It's the enemy of everything powerful inside you. Every great transformation starts with a burn. You want growth? You want freedom? You want greatness? You have to be willing to get uncomfortable. You have to let go of who you were. You have to let yourself burn. When you push through that moment, the one where you feel like you can't keep going, you meet the real you, the version that doesn't quit, the version that doesn't make excuses, the version that remembers what it's made of. That's the point when pain turns into purpose. The fire is calling you to rise, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, but now. You've waited long enough. You've played small long enough. You've hidden your light long enough. The world doesn't need another person chasing comfort. It needs someone willing to step into the flames and say, I was born for this. When you start living like that, everything changes. Discipline stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like power. Consistency stops being effort and becomes identity. Every challenge becomes an invitation, a chance to remember your origin. The fire does not choose the strongest. It makes them. It doesn't care about your past. It doesn't care about your doubts. It only asks one thing. Will you stand in the heat long enough to become who you were meant to be? Because that's the real test, not whether you can start, but whether you can stay. Whether you can keep showing up when the world gives you every reason not to. Whether you can hold the line when everything in you wants to run. That's what separates the ordinary from the unstoppable. Comfort won't build you. Consistency will. Commitment will. Faith in yourself will. Every time you wake up and choose discipline over distraction, you feed the fire. Every time you face fear instead of hiding from it, you fuel it. Every time you do what you said you would, even when you don't feel like it, that's when the fire grows stronger. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for motivation. You already have everything you need. The fire gave it to you the day you were born. You just have to remember who you are. You're not supposed to feel comfortable right now. You're supposed to be growing. You're supposed to be stretching beyond what you think is possible. That tension, that discomfort, that exhaustion, it's not a sign of failure. It's a sign of transformation. The old you is burning away. The new you is being born. Let it happen. Let yourself become the person the fire intended you to be. The one who doesn't chase approval. The one who doesn't need to be understood. The one who doesn't ask why me, but says try me. That's who you are beneath the fear, beneath the hesitation, beneath the comfort you've been taught to worship. You are fire, pure, untamed, unstoppable energy. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to ignite, and when you finally embrace that, when you stop hiding from the heat and start walking into it, you'll understand what real freedom feels like. It's not safety. It's not rest. It's knowing that nothing can touch you because you've already survived the flames that should have destroyed you. The fire inside you is not waiting for the perfect moment. It's waiting for the real one. This one, right now. Every day you wake up with two choices. Feed the fire or smother it. Move toward the person you were meant to be or drift back into the haze of comfort. Most people choose the haze. They tell themselves tomorrow will be different, that one day they'll be ready. But there is no ready. There is only action. There is only now. Fire does not wait. It moves. When you decide to move with it, life begins to shift. Obstacles stop feeling like walls and start looking like doors. The voice that once whispered doubt starts to sound like challenge. You begin to crave the struggle instead of avoiding it, because deep down, you know that nothing real comes without effort. You start to realize that the friction you've been running from is the same friction that makes the spark catch. Look back at your life. The most powerful moments were never easy. They were the times you stood at the edge of breaking and refused to fall apart. They were the nights you fought yourself just to get up again. That is the kind of power comfort will never give you. It can only come from the fire. The reason so many people feel lost isn't because they lack direction. It's because they've been living too far from their own flame. They've traded challenge for distraction, struggle for comfort, truth for entertainment, and then they wonder why they feel empty. A soul built from fire cannot breathe in lukewarm air. It needs heat. It needs resistance. It needs something worth fighting for. You are meant to live like that, fully engaged, completely alive. You were meant to wake up with purpose, to sweat for something that matters, to chase mastery, to build, to push, to rise. The fire inside you doesn't care about fame or applause. It cares about becoming. Every time you choose effort over ease, it grows brighter. Some days the fire feels small. You wake up tired, uninspired, unsure. That's okay. Fire doesn't always roar. Sometimes it waits, but even in silence it's there, quietly asking if you'll keep your promise. And when you take one small step forward, it answers with warmth, momentum, energy. Because action is its language. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to move. The fire will shape the path as you go. It will test you, push you, strip away what you thought you needed. And yes, it will hurt, but the pain will turn into clarity. Every time you walk through another storm, the noise fades, and what's left is focus. That's the gift. The world respects fire because it cannot be ignored. It consumes everything false. It leaves behind only what's real, what can endure. The same thing happens to you when you stop hiding from challenge. Your excuses burn off. Your doubts melt down. What remains is something solid, something true. The version of you that no longer bends when life applies pressure. People will notice the change. They'll call you obsessed, intense, driven. They won't understand why you keep pushing when you could relax. But that's because they never learned to trust the heat. They never learned to see the beauty in the burn. You have. You know that growth feels like fire because it is fire. Keep going. Keep building. Keep walking through it. The fire will never betray you. It's not there to destroy. It's there to prepare. Every long night, every lonely climb, every fall that made you question yourself, it was all training. It was all part of the process. You weren't being punished. You were being tempered. One day you'll wake up and realize the things that used to scare you don't even move you anymore. The pressure that once felt unbearable now feels natural. The storms that used to throw you off course now fuel your pace. That's the mark of someone who has learned to live with fire. And then something shifts again. The fire that once burned to prove yourself becomes something bigger. It turns outward. It starts to light the way for others. You begin to understand that your struggle wasn't just about you. It was about everyone watching, everyone who needed to see that endurance is possible. You become the reminder, the example, the spark for someone else's fire. That's what legacy really is. It's not a name carved in stone. It's a flame carried forward. It's the strength you pass down through your actions, the discipline you embody, the courage you show when it matters most. It's every person who decides to keep going because they saw you do it first, and the world needs more of that. It needs people who live like fire, people who refuse to settle, who keep moving, who build and rebuild, who teach through example. Not perfect, not fearless, but alive. Remember this. The fire inside you was never meant to make you comfortable. It was meant to make you capable. At some point, the struggle stops feeling like struggle. You stop counting the days. You stop measuring your progress against anyone else's. You just live in the rhythm of the fire. The same heat that once terrified you now feels like home. You understand its patterns, its moods. You know how to breathe when the flames rise, how to move when everything around you shakes. You no longer fight it. You work with it. This is the point where power begins to change shape. It's no longer about surviving. It's about leading. You've walked through enough darkness to know what light costs. You've felt how pain carves out room for wisdom. You carry that weight differently now, quietly but unshakably. And the fire that made you strong begins to draw people in. They see the calm in your eyes. They feel the steadiness in your voice. They sense that you've faced something most never will. You don't need to prove anything. The fire already speaks for you. You've become the evidence. People will start to ask how you do it, how you stay disciplined, how you keep moving when everything falls apart. You'll tell them the truth. You stopped running from the burn. You stopped confusing comfort with peace. You let the fire break you down so it could build you right. That's when you realize something essential. You were never meant to keep the fire to yourself. You were meant to carry it, to show others that it's survivable. You were meant to lead, not through talk, but through presence. Leadership isn't about titles. It's about temperature. The world warms itself by the people who refuse to go cold. And the world right now is freezing. You can see it in the eyes of people scrolling, waiting, wishing. You can hear it in the silence after excuses. Everyone's chasing warmth but running from the only place it exists, inside the fire. That's why you can't stop. That's why you have to keep going, even when no one sees you, even when it feels like no one cares. Because every moment you stay in the heat, you're proving it's possible. You're reminding someone that it's worth it. It's easy to underestimate how far that ripple travels. One act of strength creates another. One moment of honesty gives someone else courage. One person who refuses to quit becomes the reason another tries again. That's how the fire spreads, not through noise, but through endurance. And when you start to see that, your purpose changes. You no longer chase success for yourself. You chase it because it keeps the flame alive for everyone watching. You realize that the greatest gift you can give the world is your example. The fire that once tested you now trusts you. It no longer has to burn away what's weak because you no longer cling to it. You've learned the difference between pain and growth, between fear and instinct. You've learned that the burn isn't there to destroy. It's there to define. You begin to understand the deeper rhythm of things. The same force that forged the stars runs through your veins. The same power that split the mountains shaped your mind. You are not separate from the fire of creation. You are a continuation of it. And that realization changes everything. You stop begging life to be easier. You stop expecting the path to be straight. You start thanking the obstacles for showing you where the strength still sleeps. You see pressure as an invitation, not a punishment. You start walking into storms on purpose because you know what waits on the other side. Clarity, evolution, mastery. This is the awakening, when you stop fearing difficulty and start craving it. When you realize that every test is another chance to remember your origin. Every trial is another reminder that you were born from fire, not comfort. The world around you might not understand. They'll call it obsession. They'll call it madness. But the truth is, most people never meet their own power. They never let the fire work long enough to transform them. You have. You know that pain is the price of power. You know that loss is the door to wisdom. You know that the only way out is through. You are no longer the same person who began this journey. You've seen too much, endured too much, learned too much. And yet there's still more. The fire doesn't end, it evolves. It becomes purpose, clarity, vision. The same heat that once broke you now builds you into something unshakable. Your voice steadies. Your heart focuses. You stop reacting and you start creating. You no longer ask, why me? You ask, what can I make from this? That's what the fire has been trying to teach you all along. Creation and destruction are the same force seen from different sides. The burn that ended one version of you was the beginning of another. You had to lose who you were to become who you could be, and now you see it everywhere. Every person, every struggle, every challenge, fire in different forms. Some people are still afraid of it. Some people worship it from a distance. But a few, very few, learn to live in it. Those are the ones who change the world. You were meant to be one of them. You were meant to carry the fire, to show others that comfort is not the goal. Evolution is, to remind them that pain is not a curse. It's a call. When you live like that, life itself begins to respect you. It stops testing you for survival and starts training you for purpose. The obstacles don't disappear. They align. The storms don't weaken you. They sharpen you. Every challenge becomes another forge. This is what mastery feels like. Not control, but understanding. You don't need to escape the fire anymore because you've become fluent in it. You move through heat like it's home. You meet adversity like an old friend. You don't run, you rise. When the fire has lived in you long enough, you begin to move differently. You don't panic when things fall apart because you've seen what chaos can create. You don't freeze when you feel the heat because you've walked through it before. You no longer pray for an easier life. You prepare for a stronger one. The world still offers comfort, but it no longer tempts you. You know where that road leads, to softness, to regret, to a quiet kind of death. You've tasted what comfort does to people. It dulls their hunger, steals their vision, and tricks them into thinking survival is the same as living. You didn't come this far just to survive. You came to build, to fight, to burn. Fire doesn't settle. It doesn't ask permission. It doesn't apologize for taking up space. It knows what it is, and it moves accordingly. You are the same. Every step you take now comes with purpose. Every decision, every habit, every day, fuel. You understand that greatness is not a moment, it's a method. It's showing up when it's hard. It's pushing when you're tired. It's staying true to the fire when the world offers you comfort in exchange for your soul. You've learned that most people quit not because they're weak, but because they've forgotten why they started. They lose the connection to the fire that gave them the courage to begin. But you remember. You remember the nights you almost gave up, the days that broke you open, the moments when no one believed in you but you kept going anyway. You remember the sound of your own heart refusing to stop. That's your power. That's your proof. You didn't need anyone to save you. You saved yourself. You walked through the flames and found something sacred on the other side. Yourself. The version of you that's not scared anymore. The version that knows pain, can't touch what's eternal. And now it's time to pass it on. Not through speeches, not through empty words, but through how you live. Through how you face the day. Through how you carry yourself when life turns up the heat again. People will see it. They'll feel it. They'll understand that this is what it means to be alive, to fight, to fall, to rise, to burn, and to keep burning. You've become the message. The world will try to pull you back into comfort, but you'll know better. You'll see comfort for what it is, a trap disguised as peace. You'll know that real peace is earned, not given. It's found in the middle of chaos when you've done everything you can and still choose to stand tall. And when the next storm comes, and it will, you won't ask, "Why me?" You'll whisper, "I was made for this." Because the fire that built you doesn't retreat, it doesn't run out, it doesn't bow to pressure, it grows stronger every time it's tested. You are that fire, you are that persistence, you are that relentless energy that refuses to quit. You are proof that human beings were not designed for comfort. They were designed for conquest, for creation, for constant evolution. You are the embodiment of that law. Every doubt you've ever had, every mistake you've made, every failure that cut you open, they weren't the end. They were the sparks, the beginnings, the proof that you can fall and still rise harder. The fire never asks for perfection. It only asks that you keep moving forward. So move. Keep walking through the heat. Keep building what others said was impossible. Keep breaking the limits that fear built in your mind. Keep becoming the kind of person who doesn't wait for life to calm down, but finds strength in its chaos. And when you feel the fire start to fade, look around. Remember the ones who are still lost in the cold. Remember why you started. Remember that the fire that lives in you can light the way for others. Every time you push through, you give them permission to do the same. This is your purpose, to live as proof that pain can create power, that struggle can produce strength, that fire can give birth to life. You were not born to be comfortable. You were born to be capable, to lead, to rise. And when your time comes to leave this world, the fire will not die with you. It will pass on to the ones who watched, who learned, who believed. They will carry it, and the cycle will begin again. So stand tall, speak truth, move with conviction. The fire is watching. The universe takes note of those who burn bright and refuse to be dimmed. You were born from fire, not comfort, and the fire still remembers your name.